I'm Sally Stanton and welcome to Snacks and Suitcases, the podcast packed with tips, tricks and real-life stories to make travelling with kids of all ages a whole lot easier and way more fun. And today, it's part 2 of our Japan with Kids episode.
Mom, can I come with you?
Okay, let's get started. In my last episode, I chatted with Joe McGregor from the extremely popular blog, The Tokyo Chapter, and we just had way too much to discuss, so I made a two-parter. Joe's brain is just bursting with tips on how best to travel Japan with kids, and you can tell how passionate she is about showcasing how beautiful Japan is and just how accessible it is for families. So, in part 2, Jo shares her top 3 must-dos in Japan, surprising things you need to know before booking hotels. We even talk about the big tourist spots and whether they're worth it, like TeamLab and even Disney. And we also talk a lot about food, shabu shabu, sukiyaki, sushi, and how to handle picky eaters or those with allergies. So, get ready to take notes. We're heading back to Japan. Now, let's talk about must-see attractions for kids and overrated attractions. Let's do like your top 3 maybe.
Good vacation itinerary is for me a good mixture of old and new and nature and city. I believe it's really good to get out of the cities as well and include things. So something that's definitely not overrated if you're feeling like you can manage it is an onsen as a family.
I think that's a must, definitely.
Yes, you have to be naked to take part. So it's not for you. I understand. However, I would like to challenge families to have a try, especially if you're on holidays in Japan because you don't know anybody else there. My tip is it's always with the same gender. So my daughter and I like to go around dinner time in Japan. Most Japanese people go after dinner or quite late at night. There's rarely anybody there. We just feel like my daughter loves the, you wash your body before you go in the water, and we wash our body and we have a chat. And we're not in the water, the actual onsen, for that long because it is quite hot for her. And then we get out and they have all the creams that you use. So I think people who are not including an onsen, I want them to try it. Another one, karaoke.
The best.
I've written a blog post about how to do it because I know some people find it to be intimidating. But unlike many people think, karaoke is not in Japan is almost never in front of an audience. You're literally singing in front of the group of people that you've brought to karaoke. So it's a lot of little booths and they bring food to your room. So you pick up a little phone. Can I have some fries? Can I have some beers? Can I have some soft drink, ice cream? Some of the bigger brands also have all you can eat options or all you can drink soft drink and ice cream or eat ice cream. And it's just really fun. Even for kids who feel a little bit shy, you sing a song that they love and they'll have a dance. You can turn on the disco lights. So they're things that I think sometimes people forget because they don't understand how that works in Japan.
Yeah, it's definitely not in front of an audience. The first time I heard about karaoke here, I thought it was in a private room. And no, it was in front of other people. And I don't have a great voice in front of other people. When it's just me, my voice is great. I'm Mariah Carey.
But actually, as someone who has attended a lot of karaoke functions for work when working for Japanese companies, nobody likes the people who can really sing. You don't really want to be a good singer. That's way more fun.
Totally. And you can do it with kids. I love that.
You can do it with kids. You can do it with kids in the middle of the day. Most of them open at 11 a.m. And so it's a rainy day option. You go in there, you can put in Frozen. I made my brother-in-law sing Man, I Feel Like a Woman. It was fabulous.
That's my vintage.
It's great. Yeah, it's really good.
And some hotels even have it downstairs. My friends had it in their hotel and they also visited Rainbow Karaoke in Shibuya. They also went there 3 times in their 1 week in Tokyo.
I have many people who message me and say that, and it's often the people who say, I will go just for a little bit because I just couldn't sing in front of everyone, no way. And then they're like, we're going tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, it's so addictive, isn't it? It's, people have a sport that they do. Mine's karaoke.
And then so I've got my 3 things that I think It's not that they're underrated. It's just they're not thought of from newcomers to Japan. So my onsen, karaoke, and I also think going for shabu shabu and sukiyaki, they're in the same restaurant, is something really special to do as a family. Even if your kids are fussy, even if you think they won't eat anything, that I guarantee there's something there they could eat, and they might just want to be head chef for a little bit until they think about what they'd like to eat. So what happens is you go into the restaurant, you sit down, there's a hot pot on the table, and you get to choose whether you have shabu shabu or sukiyaki.
I get confused sometimes.
Well, the staff will show you how to do it, and you can totally say to them, I would like you to do everything, or you can say, tell me what to do. And there's instructions as well on the table. So put it on, turn down the heat, add whatever you like. And the best part about these restaurants are they kind of look a little bit like a Sizzler or something. There's a whole buffet of vegetables and a whole other buffet of desserts and ice cream. And that's included in your price. Another station for soft drinks. And then you decide on the kind of meat you'd like. So you can go your Kobe beef or Wagyu if you're feeling fancy. And then they bring it out. It's unlimited for the time you select. So usually you choose 60 minutes or 90 minutes is the standard. And they just keep bringing it out for that time. So then you could keep going back. Kids get to cook. They get to have some ice cream, come back. It's a really special experience. And usually at lunchtime again, it's cheaper than going for dinner.
Oh, I'm so hungry. You're making me really hungry.
It's also really good if you've got people with dietary requirements because you're literally in charge of what goes in your meal. So if you wanted to have a vegetarian version, gluten-free, people can also do that. It's a little trickier because you'll have to ask a lot of questions and maybe your marinade and your sukiyaki might be a little bit blander tasting, but you can also choose restaurants that have gluten-free soy sauce and other options like that.
Yeah, can you speak to that a little bit? Because a lot of people have allergies these days or restrictions. How hard is that in Japan? Luckily, I've never had to deal with it.
I would say it requires research. So it's definitely not the easiest place to travel with dietary requirements and with allergies. That doesn't mean it's impossible. The main reason is, of course, because you're working in a different language with a lot of different foods that may be prepared differently to what you're expecting. So there might be something in a sauce that they never use when they make your omelette at home or something like that. So it is possible. I recommend, so if we're going to talk about gluten-free people, there's an amazing Facebook group called Gluten-Free Travel Japan, and they all share lots of tips, including what to buy at the convenience store and that sort of thing. That's really good. Also, you can get an allergy card printed out too that says, I am gluten-free. That means I can't have wheat, blah, 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 blah. However, I wouldn't rely on that alone. You can't walk into any restaurant and say, I need all this, because they won't necessarily have what you need. And I'm sure you know, Sally, too, a lot of very nice restaurants in Japan might only have 3 things on the menu. That doesn't mean they can do your pasta gluten-free or your udon gluten-free or whatever. So you'll need to do the research plus have your card as a double checker.
Yep.
And Google Translate is also incredible. So you can use Google Translate for all the backs of the ingredients list on the back of food. And for people who are really worried, once again, I would lean into those hotel apartment style accommodation with a little kitchenette so that you've got a backup in case your child needs you to make something the same as home.
Yeah, if you have a serious allergy, to nuts, you're anaphylactic or something, that's where you would probably have to have a few backups.
Yes, for families who have someone with a very severe allergy, my personal recommendation as a mum is to once again get a place with a kitchenette.
Yeah.
Or consider staying at one of the big brands such as your Hiltons, your Hyatts, so that you can email with them ahead of time to make sure they fully understand exactly what that your child can't have even a drop of sesame or a little bit of egg touching something else. It's best to be conservative. And then for my vegetarian and vegan friends, I often recommend going vegan. Being vegan is easier than being vegetarian because of the language barrier, particularly when outside of Tokyo, Osaka or Kyoto, because you can use the Happy Cow app, which will tell you all the completely vegetarian options in the area.
Right.
Whereas being vegetarian is hard because for a lot of people in Japan, it's getting a little bit better, but for most people in Japan, they don't understand what it means. So they might still put some ham in there or be confused as to why you're okay to eat egg, but you're not okay to eat a piece of chicken. It just takes that part out of it. So if you're going more rural or less populated, less touristy areas, I recommend going vegan if it's something that's really important to you.
Yeah. Touch wood, I've never had to deal with, any serious allergies with myself or anyone in my family, but my daughter can be super picky with food. Luckily, she loves most Japanese food. She doesn't love vegetables. But if we were going somewhere where I knew she wouldn't eat anything on the menu, I would take with me, and no one really turned their nose up at me or anything, and I do it here, I would order a bowl of rice and I take a little furikake packet, which you can buy at the supermarket or a 7-Eleven, kid-friendly ones. They're less in sodium. The flavors aren't as crazy. And I just put that on the rice and she would eat it like it was a bowl of lollies. She absolutely loves it. I don't know how good it is for you because it is salty, but that's a little tip for you if your kids love salt and rice.
It's better than fast food, I'm sure. That's a great idea. You might want to explain what furikake is for people who don't know.
Yes, otherwise known as, when you're little, sasa. When I was little, it was called sasa because that's the sound it makes when you shake it. It's a mix of dried fish flakes, seaweed, sesame seeds, which some people are allergic to as well, but it's basically flavoring for your rice. You can find it here.
When you're putting it on, it looks a little bit like you're putting like a coloured sea salt or something on it somewhere, like a heavy sea salt, but it's little pieces of seaweed and things like that. Yes, for my picky eaters, I recommend, once again, considering the kitchen, if it's really something you're concerned about, then you can make whatever you normally make at home in your home country, just in the evening, or even have it in the fridge as a backup. You've got something you can put in the microwave quickly. Other than that, there are a lot of international options in Japan. So although it's not ideal, particularly Tokyo, it's like going to New York. You can have pizza. You can live in Tokyo and never eat Japanese food if you don't want to. What a waste that would be. But if you really didn't like Japanese food, you could absolutely manage just fine in the big cities. I also recommend food halls. There's some amazing food halls. One that comes to mind, or actually two come to mind. There's an amazing food hall in Shinjuku called New Woman.
Oh, yes. That was near my hotel.
It's New Woman, but there's only one. Imagine you put New and Woman together and you take away one W. So it's like New Woman.
Oh, was it? I didn't even notice.
So, and everyone can sit wherever they want. It's not like an Australian food court where you've got McDonald's, KFC and maybe an Indian option. These are proper restaurants, but you can buy from each of the restaurants and all sit together. And I love that option too, because mum and dad might want to try yakitori and mum might want to have sushi or something weird and wonderful. I want to eat, I don't know, fish eyeballs or something. Then they also have the same one they have in the same complex. There's a bakery, there's pasta. So those are great. There's another one above Osaka Station, which is also incredible. It looks almost like you're at a massive airport and it's got beautiful high-end, gorgeous quality foods. So that's another one too, where everyone can eat something different.
Yeah, that New Woman one, which is close to Takashimaya. That's the department store, isn't it? Yeah, opposite that it is. And the bakery, you've got to go to that bakery. Oh, my gosh, the croissants. And there was like an apricot bread that I had from there. And the coffee was good there as well.
Was that Sawamura as a black sign?
Yes, I think that's it. And next to it, there is another kind of artisanal coffee shop. There's quite a few of them now. Some of the best coffee I've ever had. So that's just a little tip.
I've met a lovely dietitian. She's, I think she's American. Yes, she's American. It's called Victoria, who works in Tokyo. And I think, what does she call it? Food pairing. So you take some food that might seem a bit more familiar and putting it with something. So things like yakisoba, it's basically just noodles. It's noodles on a hot plate. You can go to a okonomiyaki restaurant and do that. Fried chicken is everywhere, and it's actually in a lot of izakayas, which is a Japanese style pub. So even if mum and dad wanted to go out and try all the wonderful things at a Japanese izakaya, you can pretty much always, actually I don't think I've ever found anywhere that doesn't have karaage, which is Japanese fried chicken.
The one thing my daughter actually doesn't eat, can you believe?
She doesn't eat karaage?
She doesn't like karaage.
Oh,
no.
You know why? Because my son's been eating her portion.
So he's a fan.
Yes, he's a big fan, even in the convenience store version. So I recommend trying some things like that, things that are cooked in front of you. Like I said, kids can watch them. They can decide if they want to have a little taste. They can say no cheese, yes cheese. It might not seem adventurous to you, but there's a kind of food in Japan called yoshoku, which literally means borrowed from the West Japanese food, but it's what we would call Japanese food. So omuraisu, which is an omelette around fried rice, that's Japanese food. To me, that's very much Japanese food. But you can go to and have omurice as a family, and that's not as scary. I don't like to put scary next to food, and things like that as well. Okonomiyaki. You can go to teppanyaki and just get some grilled chicken or some grilled beef in front of you.
I could just talk about Japanese food all day, maybe any food really.
There are family restaurants too, like you've got your Royal Host, which are kind of like American diners that have Japanese and
like
Japanese
Denny's.
and Western food, and your Denny's.
Denny's used to be big when I was on exchange there, when I was 16, long time ago. Is it still there?
Denny's is great, yes.
Still there?
I went a little over a month ago. My husband, my son and I have had a great time there. And it also has all you can drink bars and things like that still. So that's probably why you remember going there as well.
I was 16,
it's cheap and cheerful. Yes, cheap and cheerful. I do think, and this is me sounding a bit like a bossy mum, those restaurants are great. Sometimes families only go to those places, and I think that would be a waste. Even if you have fussy kids, even if you feed them up a little bit beforehand on what they'd like to eat, go in there, bring a puzzle and a sticker book to the izakaya, order them some French fries, and mum and dad still need to eat their yummy food, have their Japan experience. Most izakaya in Japan, you push the button to get the waiter to come. Kids can be head of button pushing.
So fun.
All that sort of thing. So yes, I think it's that combination. And then they might surprise you. A little bit of cucumber comes on the side, or
yes. My daughter's
carrot.
just started eating cucumber without seeds.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. She loves carrots though. And I do remember buying the world's most expensive carrot in Takashimaya, in Osaka though. So they have an expensive food court down the bottom, Depachika, and I bought this huge, beautiful looking carrot, and she devoured that thing, and I thought, oh no, what's going to happen? She ate so much carrot. Like, will she turn orange? She's only little. But in saying that about the department store, they do have some very expensive fruit and veg, don't they?
They do.
But the beautiful, beautiful strawberries. And the melons, delicious. I was very lucky to try some of those strawberries and also some of the apples. Some of those, the enormous apples. Even the cheap ones are actually really delicious and fresh. I don't know, maybe it was the time of year, but they were delicious. Yeah.
I always think that Japanese apples are really big, and they often look just like Snow White apples.
Now, what about some of the cultural differences in Japan? What do tourists need to be aware of?
Okay, so to go on a very basic level, a lot of people ask me about how will I know what to do. Now, when I'm with my children, and I have started applying to myself, is let's look around and see what other people are doing. And that is probably the best way to gauge it, and the way to, I'm going to say be safe. But the thing is, in Japan, you'll never get in trouble, but you will feel like you've made a bit of a cultural mistake. And almost everyone who goes to Japan wants to do the right mindful thing. So I say to my kids, so for example, we jump onto the train, and I say, look around, everyone's using a very little voice or not talking. Let's try and match their energy. The shoes on and off thing, I think, is probably the one that people will notice first when they're on a vacation in Japan. It's a good idea to have your good socks. Your socks with a hole in them are going to get busted.
That's why you can find so many great socks in Japan.
True.
They are well known for making really good socks. You just have to make sure it says made in Japan on the back. Like, I always buy socks in Japan. They last forever.
I recommend, if you're going in summertime, so you'll be wearing sandals, having some socks or little sockets in your bag just to slip on when you do take your shoes off in hotels or restaurants or temples that require shoes off. Not all do. I think that's a good way to do it. Public transport, when you're taking a bullet train, is good manners to forward your luggage if you can, so that you're not clogging up the platform. Also, just I feel like I'm being like the etiquette police here, but let me just say it anyway. Getting to the platform ahead of time will save your sanity. Also, the bullet trains have a special spot. So if you're in carriage 4, you can wait at the carriage 4 spot for your train to come. That also means you're letting other people pass. Letting people off the train first before getting on, that's usually something children need to be reminded of, and that goes for elevators too.
I actually love that kind of order. I love rules. That would be the Japanese in me. I do love rules, and I love how they've got the line on the floor so you know where to stand on the platform, off to the left or the right, depending what's happening. But yeah, I prefer to have those rules.
You take them on. I agree. You take them on, it becomes very clear, and it is quite easy to follow. So then you can use that for the rest of your trip. And one more to do with public transport is when you get off the train, make sure you move to the middle of the platform when you're working out where you're going to go. It's a lot of people to move in the cities. So if you step off that train and you're blocking the way for everyone else, you're not going to be their favorite person. So step out into the middle, then look up for your exit or look at your Google Maps or whatever you're doing.
And what do you think is overrated in Japan?
I think Japan does pretty much everything really, really well. However, zoos. The zoos are, and it depends on which country you're from. I'm from Australia and we have really beautiful zoos where they try and make the enclosures look a lot like the habitat of the animals. So a tiger might look like it's living in India or Africa or that sort of thing. And whereas in Japan, I think it's more focused on the guests seeing the animal, which I understand, but that means often a very small enclosure. So that's the thing that I would skip. And then I have to admit, like we were talking about for Harajuku, I also think people need to watch their snobbiness about touristy attractions. Sometimes touristy places are touristy for a reason, and particularly with children. So there's all these new, when I say new, the last 3 years, there's a lot of samurai ninja experiences.
Yeah, I've noticed they're popping up.
They're touristy and cheesy as can be, and a Japanese person would never. But children love it. And if your kid is a little ninja wannabe or they need something for them, why not embrace that too? And then you can pair it together with your temple or your authentic dining experience. But I recommend also just, catching yourself out if you go, oh, I would never.
We did one really cheesy thing last time, and it was visiting the Kill Bill restaurant.
Oh, I love that place.
I did it as a surprise for my partner because he loves Kill Bill. He's a real movie buff. You know, he's a camera operator. He's into films. I thought he'd be so excited, and I didn't say where we were. And I'm like, can you tell where we are? He's like, Kill Bill was here. Well, it wasn't actually shot there. It's inspired by, I can't remember the name of it.
It's called Gonpachi.
Oh, that's it, Gonpachi.
Yeah, it's right next to Roppongi and yes, and Ebisu. That place is fun. Yes, like I said, it's cheesy, but it is one of the few places that you can go as a tourist and eat lots of different types of Japanese food as well. I have a lot of families who say, like, because they've gone to an Australian Japanese restaurant and they said, oh, my kid wanted to eat sushi and the other kid wanted to have okonomiyaki. That's not really a thing in Japan. The restaurants specialize.
That's right.
Gonpachi is, yeah. And on a Sunday night, Gonpachi, if you book it in the evening, they have drumming, live drumming.
Oh, yeah. We were there, I think, at 5 p.m. because, kids. But, on the walls, it reminds me a little bit of Hard Rock Cafe or Planet Hollywood, where it's got the celebrities on the wall who have visited. And I think the owner loves, he loves his celebrity friends.
Lady Gaga's been there, Rocky's been there. But I think for me, the perfect way is to pair that for a family vacation, pair that and then take the train and go to Takayama or go Kinosaki Onsen, like mix it up and make it this truly magical experience. That's why I think Japan is so special. You can do that nature off the beaten track and then you can come back and have, I don't know, a Hello Kitty shaped hot dog or something.
Any shape you want, you can have. What do you think of TeamLab?
I think TeamLab is great. I love installation art.
I asked because it is the number one tourist attraction in all of Japan, I think, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait to go back again and again. I think I've been 3 times already to many different ones, and TeamLab Planets has just reopened or gotten even bigger with more rooms.
It has just this year. So it's got the water section as before, and I used to tell people maybe an hour and a half with small children because they won't stare and look at everything, an hour and a half. Now I think you could probably extend it to 2.5 hours. And then if you've got bigger kids, you could make it a 3-hour event. And it's so interactive with kids because they can literally touch things on the wall. It interacts with them. You step into that water section. And then there's the other TeamLab Borderless, which is in Roppongi, that area I was speaking about earlier. That has no water, but it's much bigger.
Yeah.
You can spend hours.
Oh, is it? Okay. I was thinking of going back to the Borderless one again, but then I went to Planets and it just blew my mind. It was amazing.
I love Planets too.
Yeah.
I really love Planets too, especially with kids. I find it a little bit hard with kids who are too big for a baby carrier and too short for the water. So for families who ask me about Planets with the water section, just because the kids, they end up being too deep and then they want to play and you're not allowed to play in it. You look at the projections on the water and take it in. You can still have fun, but I wouldn't want my kid putting their head under the water and stuff anyway. No,
But, a lot of people do ask me, what about the water? Isn't it dirty? But when you're in there, it actually actually smells like they've put some beautiful soap in the water.
I think it has to be, I agree, it has to be soapy so they can project onto it. And also, do you remember that you walk in first and you walk almost through like a little shallow waterfall?
That's right, you're going up.
Pre-washing your feet. So I have to admit, something like that doesn't bother me. It might if it was another country. For Japan, I'm not so concerned. Once again, I don't think I'd have little kids who do it. But yes, I do. I think if someone was to come to me with their itinerary and say, oh, we're not going to do that TeamLab thing, I would be saying why. I do think doing both is overkill. It's too much of the same. So you choose one and that's enough and you get the idea, and there's enough sameness in each of them that I don't think you really missed out on anything if you choose the other.
Disney, on the other hand, what do you think of Disneyland? To Disney or not to Disney?
Definitely to Disney. Definitely to Disney. As someone who has been to each of the Disneys more than 25 times, I actually shouldn't. Each of them, yes. Well, when you live so close, it could be like an after-school treat. It's also the cheapest Disney in the world. Last I checked, someone said to me the other day, Shanghai is also cheap, but the food inside is not. And when my children were small, it's free for children. Oh, I have to fact check it, but from off the top of my mind, I think it was under 4.
It is, free. Yes, because we didn't go when my daughter was free, and luckily the dollar's better for us now. So it really was so affordable. It's actually cheaper than going to somewhere like Movie World or SeaWorld in Australia.
Exactly, and the quality is better. I agree. So probably now in the Australian dollars, you'd probably pay $30 or something for a child to go there. Of course, exchange rate will take that up and down a bit. But when my kids were really little and they both were under 4, I would pay 7,000 yen and we would have a full day, and I'd take my own carrot sticks and rice crackers and we'd have lunch there and we'd have a full day. And I tell you, I think at a shopping mall, I spend more money than that now if I go with my children just to buy a milkshake for everyone and a little toy on the way out. So absolutely, I think Disney, both Disneys are incredible. I've written a blog post to help people choose which one is right for them, because there is Disney Sea. That's the only one of its kind in the world. Both have great things for little children. I find Tokyo Disneyland has the most options for little children. So that doesn't mean Disney Sea doesn't have anything. There's a whole Ariel's grotto section for children and plenty of rides. But I counted at one time, and even little shorties who can sit by themselves, so they're talking 3-year-old, can go on 70% of the rides at Tokyo Disneyland. So they can sit next to you on Winnie the Pooh's ride, Small World, even some of the smaller roller coasters. There's not many thrill rides at Tokyo Disneyland. So I think absolutely. My tip is to put your Disneys at the end of your trip. It's something for everyone to look forward to. Also, everyone feels like they've run a marathon at the end of Disney, as you should. Otherwise, you haven't done it properly. So it makes children sleep really well on the plane on the way home. And it's just a nice little close. You can also then say, would you like to pick a toy to take home? And you just take it on the plane instead of lugging it the whole time. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So the Disneyland and Disney Sea, that's another question I get a lot. Which one should I do? I don't have time or money to do both. And I've broken it down because it depends what characters they like. It depends if you're a thrill ride family or if you're a parade family. The short version is more thrill rides at Disney Sea. If you like parades, my kids really love sitting at the front of the parades and having like high-fiving Snow White as she goes past, or having Aladdin and Mickey wave back. Disneyland. Disney Sea has the parades on the water, so that's cool in a different way.
Look, I haven't been 25 times. I've been a lot, and I used to work as a presenter on Saturday Disney in Australia. So I know a little bit about Disney.
That's right.
But I agree with you, Tokyo Disneyland for the little kids, and Disney Sea's more of the thrill rides. In saying that, my partner, 44-year-old man, his favourite ride was the Beauty and the Beast ride in Disneyland. You sit in a giant teacup, and you almost feel like you are in the animated movie. It's incredible.
Yes, I agree. That is the best ride, I believe, in the whole of the 2 parks as well.
And it's not in any other Disneyland in the world, is it?
Oh, I think
you're right. From what I heard, yeah.
I think you're right.
I mean, you could do a whole episode on the Disneylands.
I absolutely could. And my strategy and where not to start with little kids and the best places to have lunch, I absolutely could. But the one thing I will say without going into it is because of the fast pass system, unlike going to Universal Studios, you can't book anything ahead of time, which is a great system because you're not paying for anything ahead. You get in there and then use the app once you're inside the doors at Disney.
Yeah.
And you book everything. And then some rides you can pay to skip the queue. And I always say to people, if there's only one option that you pay for, it's the Beauty and the Beast ride, and then line up for the rest, because it is that magical. It's so moving.
Beautiful.
It sounds cheesy, but it's really moving.
I know. I mean, my partner said that. But, I get motion sickness, and the teacup ride, the Mad Hatter teacup ride, I cannot do. And the Beauty and the Beast ride I was nervous about, and I did start to feel it at the end, but it's not as bad as some of those other rides that go round and round and round. I mean, I get sick on a merry-go-round, so I'm very sensitive.
Are you okay on trains and planes?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just round and round and up and down, like the same movement over and over again. Okay. And car sickness. I get car sick. But never been sick on the bullet train, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's so smooth, isn't it? A lot of people do ask me, can you feel the pressure? And I say, no, you can't, because it's so smooth. However, a really fun thing to do is watch the dot move on Google Maps. So open up Google Maps when you're on the bullet train, because you're moving so quickly, and you can watch the dot go along. It's really fun. It's really fun to do with kids as well. Like, check out how fast we're going.
Great tip. So, Jo, what do you think visitors to Japan are completely clueless about?
Okay. You can't get Japan wrong, even if you were to rock up and get it, because Japan is so accessible and everywhere is safe. However, that being said, some things that I see happening a lot, and I think if it's people who haven't read my blog, I'm like, I wish I'd had a chance to get my hands on you first, is like I was saying before, not valuing the importance of being close to a station when booking your accommodation. That's even how real estate works in Japan. You want to be near a station when you're getting an apartment in Japan. Convenience to the station for your commute. That's what's seen as a really good house. Some people, when they're booking for Tokyo, also speaking about accommodation again, book Tokyo Bay, and that if your accommodation has Tokyo Bay on it, that means you're either out at Disney or you're on Odaiba. Now, they're not bad areas, but that means it's not a great convenient spot for sightseeing. Every time you go into town, if you're on Odaiba, which is a man-made island, has great kid-friendly activities. Definitely go there if you want to, especially on a rainy day. But I wouldn't recommend living there while you're in Japan, because you'll have to take a monorail-style train every time you want to go into town. So you're limiting your options. You've also got to watch last train times a bit more than elsewhere. And the same goes for Tokyo Bay out near Disneyland. It's not impossible, but for me, if you want to stay near Disney, which I get because it's cool out there and it's lovely to fall into a hotel room after Disneyland when you're tired, is do your hotel stay out near Disney the night before and the night after, and then move back into central Tokyo, so that you can really have Tokyo sort of wrap around you every time you step out of the hotel.
That's what we did. It's easier, and, you can just pop down and grab something from the shops below when you're in the city. But if you're out in Disneyland, it's just hotels really, isn't it, that are nearby? Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a little less accessible without a car out that way too. You won't get to see everything. Then not understanding the pool rules. Some pools in Japan don't allow children. Most of them are only open July and August. If they are, the fee is not included in your hotel stay.
Yeah.
So it's important to ask questions.
I was clueless about that. I didn't know, because I don't think I've ever really looked at using the pool until I was there when it was really hot and my daughter wanted to swim. But I was not paying $70 for it. That's how much it was.
Yes, and I feel bad for families who are booking particularly a Disney hotel where they're thinking it's going to be a bit like America, where you stay at Disney for a couple of days, leave in the middle, go have a swim in the pool, and then they find out that the pool actually isn't open because it's not July or August. I feel bad, especially if they've chosen that hotel for that particular reason. So just double checking. Also, this is me getting really finicky, but it could be a deal breaker. A lot of hotels in Japan ask for swim caps in the pool. If your child has sensory issues and doesn't want to wear a swim cap, you might want to cross off the pool idea altogether. Just keep that in mind.
Most kids do not want to wear a swimming cap. I don't really like it.
I don't either, no way.
I've also heard something like you can't wear sunscreen in the pool. Is that true?
Not so much in hotel pools, but for some pools at places like Yomiuri Land, which is about an hour out of Tokyo, and that's like a big, like a Wet and Wild style park.
Right.
That is only open for July and August usually. They also have a no sunscreen rule, which blows my mind as an Australian, because they don't want it to mess with the water. I have to admit, although I'm a very rule-abiding citizen, you will not catch me not putting sunscreen on my children. So a sneaky me will be doing that before we leave, and to make sure that we are all covered, because Australians know well we don't mess with the sun. And then because I don't want anyone to feel too afraid of too many rules or things they could mess up in Japan. Also, I realize I'm accommodation heavy on this, but most people seem to be worrying about hotels first when they start booking their trip, is the bed sharing thing. So when you book a hotel in Japan, they will often say a double room can accommodate 2 adults and a child, but there's no bed for that child. And it often confuses a lot of people, or they say free for a child under 6. Now, the reason for this is cultural. Most Japanese families bed share, particularly to save space and money. But a lot of people do it at home too if they sleep on a futon. Children in Japan tend to bed share longer than in Western countries. That doesn't mean you have to, but it means that when you are entering in your accommodation preferences, if you want your child to have their own bed for sure, you'll need to enter them in as an adult. So if your child is 6 and there's no way you want to squish them in a double bed with mum and dad, which I completely understand, you put in 3 adults. And then, of course, when you do your check-in and you show your passport, of course, the thing that you must not do, and I've seen people asked to leave for this, is not disclose how many people are going to be in the room. You must. And that is because of, one, because some accommodation, particularly ryokans and countryside places, charge per person, which means one person may not get to have breakfast and you may be charged extra when you check out. Yeah. But also for safety reasons. If there's an earthquake, you want them to come looking for the right number of people in your room to make sure when they're doing a head count. So it's not worth the risk.
In a lot of hotels, you actually have to go and physically check out at the desk. Here, you often just leave a key or you can just go.
Yes.
Not everywhere, but in some hotels, so make sure you check that too.
Can you think of something that you've seen when you've been people in Japan and they're like, oh, they didn't know about that, or I wish they'd known about that before they came?
The lack of rubbish bins. A lot of people don't realise there's no bins anywhere, and no paper towel in the bathrooms, public bathrooms. My mum even, she always carries a little hanky around to dry her hands, and you see them for sale everywhere in Japan.
Yes, the rubbish bags is a good one. We always have plastic bags in my handbag. I'm the carrier of all the trash. And then that's the not walking and eating. That's probably one to talk on. That comes hand in hand. So that's one of the reasons why there aren't so many rubbish bins in Japan, is because you don't walk and eat as a normal thing in Japan. So the idea is the place that you bought the food, let's say even Starbucks, you buy your tea or your coffee, you drink it, and then you use the rubbish bin at Starbucks, and then you keep moving. Now, that's not always practical with children, because I'm always hoarding snacks for later or keeping things. So then my advice is to have a little plastic bag in your bag. You put the rubbish in, and I find some convenience stores, not so much in the center of Tokyo, convenience stores will have a little rubbish bin, and also the restrooms. When you're going to the toilet, I usually do a bit of a handbag check and empty out what I have on me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Are you going back anytime soon?
I am. I'm going in June. I'm going in June for some work and some play. I'm very, very, very excited.
The hot weather. The hot weather. You're coming for it. Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Is it June or July? Which one would be the hottest month, do you think?
July and August are pretty much the only time I really don't recommend for families. You can make it work, but that is extremely hot. And the reason I say it, because a lot of people say I'm from a hot country, or I'm from Queensland, or I'm from Florida, and they say hot weather doesn't bother me. The reason it feels different is, one, the humidity is very hot. So in Australia, when you're hot, you might have a shower and have a little bit of respite for a little while. But in Japan, I feel you get out of the shower and it's straight back to being sweaty again, which is particularly hard with children. Also, like I said, it's a walking and it's an outdoor holiday. Yep. So there is lots more outside and not so much lying by the pool time. So give me 50 degrees if you want to in Bali, because I'll read my book and slip in the pool and get out and read a little bit more. But Japan isn't that kind of holiday. So I do find that's pretty much the only time. If you were to call me now and say, look, we're going in July, I'd be like, are you sure you know what you're in for? And then I'd be leading you towards heading north for some of the time.
Hokkaido, beautiful in summer and winter, of course, but summer's gorgeous.
Or anywhere nice and leafy, even on the way that you can go to Aomori, it's a bit more, it's just things like that, just a little bit more sheltered. Also, I'd be planning for nice long lunches, lots of indoor things, and also, like you would in any hot place, making the bulk of your walking time in the evening and the mornings, etc.
Yeah, and they do sell a lot of cooling sprays and gel packs, and everyone's got a sunbrella. They have everything you need. It is Japan, of course, to help you in those in that hot weather, but I don't really like unbearably muggy weather in a city because the air is just so thick. It doesn't move, does it? You don't have a cool breeze. So, my favourite time is autumn, really. I love autumn in Japan.
I feel the same way. I love cherry blossoms and autumn. I also really love the middle and end of January and the start of February. Beautiful blue sky Japanese winter. The Japanese winter is mild, and I'm not a cold weather person, but for me, even it's mild. Big puffer jacket on. You can still do everything. Disneyland is like the least crowded in January after the New Year's period is finished because Japanese people all have to take their holidays for the start of the New Year period, which means everyone must go back to work, which frees up Disneyland quite a bit. I love kotatsu, which is the tables that you sit in that have a heater underneath. And even some restaurants have them. A lot of, winter activities and winter ingredients like your sukiyakis and your hot soups and stuff. I really like that. And I'm a hot weather person. I prefer warm weather, but January and February, people need to look into it a little bit more.
No, I'm a cold weather person. I love the snow in Japan, so I do all of that. But I just think the beautiful autumn colours, they're gorgeous. People always think about the cherry blossoms, but the autumnal oranges and browns, gorgeous.
And then a bright red in there.
Yes,
so nice, isn't it?
Pretty. Oh, and look, I forgot to tell you, nobody can see this, but I'm wearing a little Japanese maple leaf.
A little momiji.
From a shop that you recommended on your blog.
It's called Atelier Shinji.
That's it. And it's just a nice little souvenir for me.
Did you notice when you went into that shop that you can look down into their workshop as well?
Yes. I know
They've got
they
a glass
have this
floor.
glass floor. It's just one of those things that they think of in Japan to make the shopping experience just a little different, unique. Oh, I love it there. Gosh, Joe, I just want to go back. Oh, I really, really do. Okay, well, we probably should wrap this up. I mean, we could go on and on forever, but maybe are there any last tips you want to get out there?
No, I'm a really big advocate for Japan travel and Japan family travel.
Yeah.
I say do it. And yes, if you've been to Japan before children, it is different, but it's actually a really fun kind of different. Lean in to curiosity, as cheesy as that sounds. So if you're trying something new, let's say you're doing onsen or karaoke for the first time, it's cool for kids to be like, I don't know either. Is everyone else taking off their shoes? Oh, they are. Let's put our shoes here. I think that's really special to be like, and then mum didn't know what to do. And so I didn't know what to do. And it was so funny. I think that's cool.
Oh, it's so cute. It's the little things, isn't it, that kids notice that you would overlook when you're by yourself and you're both learning at the same time.
It's hilarious. It's so cool.
So many memories to be made there. All right. Well, I've got 5 fast questions for every guest that I have. So I would love to run them by you, but I don't want you to think about them too much. I just want you to go for it.
Okay.
Joe, are you a window or aisle seat kind of person?
Without children, window, 100%, lock me in. When I have children in the middle, I'm in the aisle so I can grab things, grab someone if they're sick, accompany people to the toilet. They climb over me, not other people.
Yes. Somehow I always end up in the middle with my family, always. No one ever lets me sit on the aisle or the window. If budget wasn't a factor, what's your dream destination?
Oh, I'm going to be so predictable and still say Japan. I would love to do a driving holiday with my family. I really want to explore Ine, which is up north Kyoto, so up the top of Kyoto. And I would love to go and find out way more about Kyushu. I really haven't touched Kyushu. I haven't touched it at all with children. Some people ask why I haven't written about it, but I have a rule that I don't write about places that I haven't tried firsthand, so people know that they can trust me.
That's where my family's from, Kyushu.
Oh, wow.
Complete this sentence. When traveling, I never forget to pack my
garbage bags. My reason is on airplanes. On airplanes, a garbage bag is my secret trick. So you know how when it always seems to, and this is not me faulting the flight attendants, but it always seems to take forever for them to clear up the meal. So, and kids are going to spill the longer the leftover food is sitting there. So I put everything in, all the food scraps into a garbage bag and I give to the staff at the end. Same with, I do a lot of unopened toys. Let's say we have a fidget toy that came in a little plastic bag. That goes in there as well. And then every 2 hours or so, I give it to the flight attendant and say, here's my rubbish, because you just accumulate so much with children. So that's my secret weapon, a garbage bag.
Now, what's your travel style? Backpack or suitcase?
Suitcase all the way. Hard case suitcase with 4 wheels at the bottom. That's a very Japanese way to travel. That's how the locals travel.
And finally, what snacks do you pack in your suitcase?
Oh, on the way to Japan, if I'm coming from outside of Japan, I will pack lots of toasted sandwiches.
Oh, really?
That's our backup in case kids don't like it. So we do lots of toasted sandwiches, like ham and cheese sandwiches. And then and some Baker's Delight if coming from Australia.
I was going to say, I do the Baker's Delight Vegemite scrolls for my daughter.
Yeah, they're always a good one.
I'm like, they're kind of healthy.
Yes, and then you can piff them before you go. And I know some people really like the fishing tackle box idea of snacks. Have you ever seen that? They're kind of quite viral on social media. I don't recommend it because you're just upping your tipping factor. You know, it's like you open it up and you've got a tackle box with like a little bit of Smarties and something. I don't recommend those because it's just going to be tears if someone knocks them and then your snacks are done. So I recommend my kids get a little bag each with some toys and a few snacks. And then I'm the holder of the main snacks for handing them out. And then on the way back from Japan, jagariko, which are these potato chips. They come in almost like a paper cup with a lid.
Yeah.
Like a Pringles style lid. And they
like the salad one. There's one called salad flavor.
But anyone tells my son that, I will be so angry because he does not want to know there's any vegetables in it. It certainly doesn't taste like salad. It tastes like a potato chip. And they're sticks and they are delicious. We also have a family rule that we never get on a Shinkansen, a bullet train, without them. And then my other snack coming back from Japan, I'm going to do 2 more actually. The Alfort biscuits. They're kind of like a chocolate digestive. They've got a digestive begin. It's got a picture of a ship on the top in chocolate. They're delicious. And then you've got to eat the border first. That's the rule. You eat the border first and then the whole cookie. And then Topo. Most people know Pocky, which is the pretzel stick that's dipped in chocolate. This is what we call it the inside out Pocky. Because if you think about it, it's like a cylinder of pretzel and inside it's filled with chocky.
Yum. Oh, Japan has got the best snacks. I buy them from Tokyo Mart here in Australia, but they are popping up in supermarkets everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yum.
So thank you for the lightning round, but I wasn't very lightning with my answer because I'm too excited.
Either was I. I'm supposed to just say yes, move on, but I just have to put in my 2 cents as well. Well, Jo, this has been so fun and informative, and I know that we could probably do another 2 hours. Maybe we'll when you do Kyushu, maybe you can come back and talk more about that. But thank you so much for joining me. This has been fabulous. Remind everyone, where can we find you?
Oh, thank you. My blog's called The Tokyo Chapter, so it's thetokyochapter.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Facebook under the same handle. And I update pretty much daily.
I promise I'm not stalking, but I follow you, all your tips. I just love knowing what's happening in Japan right now, even if I'm not going in a month or so.
Please
love
do.
it.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Jo, and ja mata ne. Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Wow, Jo really knows her stuff when it comes to traveling Japan with kids. Head to her blog, The Tokyo Chapter, for even more incredible advice on Japan. You can also ask me any questions on socials. I'll include all the contact details and links in the show notes. If you missed part 1 on Japan with kids, be sure to go back and download it. Please leave a review and share this podcast with your fellow travel-loving friends. Until next time, happy travels.
And don't forget the snacks.